Good morning, vinyl community. It's Phil at Destinational Vinyl. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for tuning in and listening. Um, I recently did a 9-part series on showcasing all my vinyl that I have in stock, and the reason I did that was so I could go through and just double check that I had them all listed on Discogs, that I knew I was missing some. I had a box put away that I didn't get to or I couldn't find. Um, however, I had a couple of questions, comments about it afterwards, and I'm going to address those today. And the main question I got was, hey, okay, you did A through Z, but where's your albums by this band, and where's your albums by these guys, and where's your albums by, so-and-so? Why don't you have any of those? And well, probably because I don't like them. So I'm going to just go through, about 25 here that I'm going to go through that either bands I just don't like. I've either tried them and don't like them, or I just can't stand them just by listening to them on the radio, or bands that I like only for the hits, one or two singles, and bands that I used to like but I've just sort of grown out of and don't care about anymore. So and a couple of bands that I'll do these first. A couple of bands that made changes in their lineup or changes in their lifestyle, and I haven't liked them ever since. Uh, and a couple of those, well, they're all big names. All of these are big names, so there's going to be a few shocks. Again, this is my opinion, to what my ear likes, to what my senses like. We all listen to things differently. One of my favorite bands is Status Quo. A lot of people can't stand them. I love Queen. Some people find them too theatrical, too over the top. I love Rush. Some people can't stand the vocals. You know what I'm getting at here, right? So these are bands that, in my opinion, I don't like. And this is why I don't have any of them. And why maybe I only have one or two of theirs in my collection. So let's just go through this. Bands that made changes in their lineup or changes in their lifestyle. Aerosmith. I love old Aerosmith. Just fantastic. Best rockin' American band there was, in my opinion. Again, I don't want to offend anyone here or say, that your bands are bad or anything like that. And again, all these bands I'm going to list, I have no problem with their talent or their songwriting, just I don't like their sound. So, if I had 1/10 of any of these guys' talent, I'd be doing what they do and not what I do. So again, I'm not knocking their talent, I'm just knocking that I don't get off on their sound. So Aerosmith, yeah, I love their first wave, their first generation. And after A Night in the Ruts, they came out with a Rock in a Hard Place, and I kind of like that one. But after that, their rebirth, it started with, oh my God, that song from Mrs. Doubtfire. God, I can't. Dude Looks Like a Lady. Yeah, they lost me. From there on out, they lost me. I didn't care, and I just stopped listening. So, but I love the old Aerosmith. Doobie Brothers. I have Greatest Hits, and I have Captain and Me, and I think I have their last album, Cycles. It might have been the last album. But their lineup with Michael McDonald in it, no, I was done with that. Anything that he sings on it, he took them from being a rowdy, rockin', guitar-based bar band, loved by bikers and hard rockers, to a lounge act. And I never got into Michael McDonald's voice. I never liked the way the songs sounded, just too laid back and easy going. More like stuff you'd listen to in a piano lounge or a rock band. And there's not a fan of the Michael McDonald era of Doobie Brothers. Van Halen versus Van Hagar. You'll notice that the last album I had of Van Halen, was just before, was 1984. Pardon me. After that, David Lee Roth left, or was quit or was fired, however it worked down, and Sammy Hagar came in, and I just don't like Sammy Hagar. I liked him on Montrose on that first album, but I just don't like the guy's voice. I don't like the way he's just trying to fill David Lee Roth's shoes in that band. I just don't like the band's sound after that. It became too commercial. Yeah, it just didn't do it for me. So Van Halen post David Lee Roth, I was done. No thank you. Still like the old stuff. I love the old stuff. I'll always play it. Then there's a couple of bands that I used to like when I was younger, but I just don't get off on anymore, and I just wish I didn't, go through that era. But Def Leppard and John Cougar, and I refuse to call him what he calls himself now. It's just the first few albums of John Cougar. That's his name. That's what I have it filed under C. Def Leppard, yeah. The first two albums were, well, the first one was good. The second one was great, and then Pyromania came out, and I loved Pyromania. But after that, they lost me. It just came too commercial, too corporate, just too sugary and sweet, and just too much crap. Just didn't like them at all. They just softened their sound and just like they were just groomed for radio. And no thanks, I didn't like it. John Cougar, yeah, I like a few songs. I got a few of his albums because there's like one, maybe two songs on each album that I like. But really, I could have done without the whole John Cougar thing. I wish he came out with a greatest hits thing on vinyl that I could find, just so I could get rid of all these albums I got. To this day, I'm just sick of I'm sick of American Fool. All those songs that played on the radio ad nauseum. Tired of it. No, thank you. And then there's a couple of bands that I have just for the hits. Like Bad Company. I never really cared for Bad Company all that much, but they have a few great songs on the radio that I loved. Good Lovin' Gone Bad, and I Can't Get Enough of Your Love. I like their radio hits, but the deep cuts on their albums, I just didn't do it for me. Like Paul Rodgers' voice, just the whole sound overall, they all sort of cookie cutter music to my ears anyways, just I didn't get them. Yeah, and then there's U2 and Bon Jovi. Yeah, no, I don't get it. U2, I tried to listen to. I had a few albums, and everyone said they were so fantastic, and I played them and played them and played them, and just no, not for me. I just can't get into it. Now every time I see a rock music documentary, there's Bono in there with his 2 cents. So it's like, I don't need his opinion on anything, on everything. I don't care about him. And Bon Jovi, I liked Living on a Prayer until it got played in every goddamn sports arena in North America. Every time you can't turn on the radio without hearing, I'm just sick of it. And what's the other one? Bad Medicine. I like that song, Bad Medicine. I got that on a 45, and that's all I need. I'm just done with Bon Jovi. And then he did a country album, I think, or country themed album. God, that was horrible. Yeah, so those are bands that I just, don't really care about or get. But now my big list, and this is about 17 long. I apologize, there's going to be a little bit of time here, but bands that I've tried or listened to and just either don't like, or I've listened to and just don't get, and doesn't do it for me. You can't listen to everything. I have 1,307 albums, I think, at my latest count, once I got everything put in there on Discogs for my list. I got over 1,300, just over. And you can't listen to everything. I'll never listen to some of these albums again. I'm going to go through and thin the herd again and cull some out and trade them in maybe for one or two new vinyl or something like that. But bands that I just never got. And I'm going to shock some people here with some of these choices, but if you're a fan of Sea of Tranquility, Pete Pardo and his Hudson Valley Squares did a really cool show the other night. There were 8 of them, and they were all listing 3 to 5 bands, popular albums by popular bands that they just didn't get and didn't like. And my God, one guy had Abbey Road in there. One guy had, one lady had Rush Moving Pictures, and they're like, not everybody agrees on everything, right? So this is my list of stuff that I just don't like. Genesis, I don't get it. I listened to a few of their songs. I don't get it. I have friends who have their albums. I don't understand this. I listened to the live album at a buddy's place. Yeah, you got someone else. I do have Duke in my collection because I don't mind that album. I love the song Turn It On Again. I like Misunderstanding. The rest of the album I can listen to. It's a decent spin, but other than that, I'm not a Genesis fan. And I've met Phil Collins. He's a really nice guy. He's a really fantastic guy. He has, I don't know if he still owns it, but he used to own property not far from here in our lower mainland in White Rock. And came into our car dealership one day with a friend who was dropping a car for service, and he came in and said hi to everyone, and he was very nice and polite, and no one gushed over him. I think that was it. We don't really do that here in, where we are. Canadians a bit more reserved, I suppose, but yeah, there were no autograph hounds around him. You know, if you walked by, says, "Hi, Mr. Collins, hi, Phil," and so on and so on. And he was very appreciative of that. I think just being left to his own thing, just helping a buddy out. But he was a nice guy. But that being said, I like his solo career a lot more than his Genesis career. Uriah Heep. Yeah, I used to own Demons and Wizards, and it was a really interesting cover. I was just fascinated by it, and I heard a lot about these guys, and I bought it at a buddy's record store for like $5-6. He had it in a clearance bin because it was a little bit, the cover was really marked up. And I put it on, spun it, and thought, I don't get it. And I'll play it again, and I tried it again, I didn't get it. A few days later, I tried it again, and yeah, this is going in my recycle box, and it's not my sound. Told you I was going to upset a few people here. Jethro Tull. Sorry, I don't get it. I love Locomotive Breath. I just love that song. If it comes on the radio, that's one of my 10. I'll just crank up the maximum as far as the speakers will go because I just love that song. Everything else, no, not so much. I bought a couple of albums to the friends, again at a friend's recommendation. Said this is a prog group, you really love them, they're really heavy. And I just didn't find it. And the whole flute thing, not my taste. I do have Thick as a Brick, because I just found the packaging, the presentation of it fascinating with that huge fold-out newspaper. And I've read every word on the damn thing. It's just fascinating how someone would even think to do this to a record album for a jacket. And I do have a greatest hits sort of thing, a master's package or something like that. Because, again, Locomotive Breath is on it. And Living in the Past, I didn't mind. But that's it. Here come the haters again. Yes. For me, it's no. Sorry, I don't like yes. Yes is a big fat no. So many people have channels that laud these guys' talents, and I don't argue that they're talented. I agree. Again, if I had 1/10 of these guys' talent, I'd be doing what they do. But yes, no, just Ian Anderson's vocals. I think that's the vocalist, Ian Anderson. I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me. And Roundabout, oh my god, if I hear that song again, I'm gonna puke. But that song, it's like the song that never ends. It just goes on and on and on. And I just, not for me, thank you. I bought Fragile and Yes songs and Relayer and Closer to the Edge. I bought them all like $4 or $5 a piece years ago and tried them. And there was so much hype about them, and everyone at school, when I was back in school back in the 70s, everyone had Yes t-shirts. And, no. Sorry, not me. Prince. No, thank you very much. I can't stand the sight or the sound of him. Done. Moody Blues. Nah, just didn't get it. Nights in White Satin, I must be the only guy in the Western Hemisphere that just absolutely can't stand that song. Again, it's one of those ones that just goes on, and then stop in the middle to read some frickin' poem, and no, it doesn't do it for me, sorry. Oh, Blood, Sweat, and frickin' Tears. Oh, if I hear that guy's voice, I just die for the radio. I will jump over the back seat of a station wagon to get the radio to change the channel. I can't stand David Clayton Thomas's voice. And the frickin' horns. You make me so fucking happy, and Spinning Wheel and Go Down Gambler just make me puke. No, thank you. Again, no offense to anyone who likes those guys. I don't understand it. I just don't get it. Can't stand the sound of the guys at all. Just, ugh. Like I said, if that's on the radio, I'm the first to hit the button. Get a little emotional there, didn't I? Radiohead. Yeah, I'm on a couple of music groups on Facebook, and this guy was posting all these Radiohead albums, and I says, okay, what would you recommend I listen to? I've never heard them, they're not on the radio, I don't have any friends who have any in the collection. What would you recommend I listen to if I go on YouTube and listen? And he gave me like six songs to listen to, and I went on, and I think I last 3 songs, and I said, no, I'm done, I get the sound of it, I don't like it. And with all due respect to, on YouTube, Larry Graves, the Canadian stud muffin, One of his favorite bands is Sparks. He also loves Yes and Genesis, but he also loves Sparks, and I just don't get it. At his recommendation, I went on and I listened to a bunch of songs, and no, I just don't get it. It's really off the wall stuff. With Sparks, it's going to be one of those bands that you either get it or you don't. Excuse me, and I'm sorry, I don't. But I did try them. I have tried all these bands. So don't anyone come up and say, hey man, you should just listen to this and this. I've listened to them. I don't like them. And again, when I was in high school, that was 76 through 79, a lot of people had t-shirts that said Chicago. Not my thing. I don't like Peter Cetera's voice. Not my band. I don't like him. Well, they were listening to Chicago and Yes, and also the next band I'm going to list. I was wearing Nazareth and BTO shirts, and God, who else did I like back in high school? Meatloaf and Queen. I had those t-shirts. Everyone was wearing Yes and Chicago, and no, I didn't get it. Yeah, Chicago. I've never owned an album, never will. I don't care. They don't. Even a greatest hits thing. I can't think of 3 songs on there I'd want to listen to. And 25 or 624. What the hell is that about? A bunch of numbers? I don't get it. When I was in high school, one of the biggest songs going was "The Boys Are Back in Town" by Thin Lizzy. I must have been the only kid in high school who hated that song. I don't get it. Sorry, Thin Lizzy, couldn't get into it. I have a friend who was big into those guys. Listened to an album of his after school. You got anything else? No, it doesn't do it for me. And the band. God, I hate their sound. Up on Cripple Creek and no, I don't get it. It's the songs are just boring. They just drone on and on. It's this Canadian wannabe southern rock, and no, it doesn't do it for me. Not my band. Sorry, I'm not listening to it. Wasting my time. Moving on to the next one. Sorry. And yeah, a couple of buddies of mine are really into Frank Zappa. Not my thing. I was asked, why do you have any Frank Zappa? Why do you have Joe's Garage? Best album ever made. Well, you know what? Once upon a time, I owned Joe's Garage. A friend of mine, we were shoulder to shoulder at one of those record fair swap meet things, and I saw it there for like $6. It was the cover was almost stripped, had water damage, and he says, just buy this. You'll love this. You'll love this. You'll love this. Took it home, and at the end of side 1, I put it back as it's yours. I don't want this. It's crap. Not for my taste. Sorry. And same with Velvet Underground. I don't get it. Just sorry, I don't get it. And another 2, Talking Heads and Pearl Jam. The whole grunge thing I never got into. I have one Nirvana album. I like Smells Like Teen Spirit. There's a couple of other songs on there I like, but really that album to me just doesn't do it. There's a couple of songs. But the whole Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Talking Heads thing, I've never liked Talking Heads. The songs are just really weird, and Pearl Jam is just too, I don't know, grungy, for lack of a better term. And let's see, there's a couple of others here that Foreigner. Oh, I don't get Foreigner. Lou Graham's voice just fingernails on a chalkboard. There's one song of Foreigners I can listen to, and that's only because it was featured in an episode of WKRP Cincinnati when Les Nessman was going out on a dinner date with Jennifer to an awards banquet, and he asked her out. And while he was dressing in the DJ booth, he putting on the wig, and they played Hot Blooded on air. God, that song just always makes me laugh because I always think back to that episode of WKRP. But that, as far as Foreigner goes, that's all I can stand. At the P&E Pacific National Exhibition, big outdoor fair with all the rides and arcades and agricultural shows and all that stuff, and concerts, free indoor and outdoor during the whole thing. My wife wanted to go see Foreigner, and I tagged along with her and another couple of friends of ours, and I got a third of the way through set, and I stood up. So I'm going to get a beer, but I ain't coming back. I'm going to drink it at the fairgrounds and watch people on the rides or watch the arcade games. Just not my band. Sorry, didn't like them. Um, Heart. I have, if you watch my collection thing, I've got, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 Heart albums. And everyone thinks, wow, you really like Heart. Well, no, on each album there's like one song, maybe two that I like. I don't know if they ever came out with the greatest hits. If they did, I can't find it, not on vinyl at least anyway. But really, that would be all I need. Nah. I love Barracuda. There's Nothing at All was a great song. I don't mind Dreamboat Annie, although it's overplayed on the radio. I can't stand Crazy on You. Her vocals and that just make me want to crush a beer can. No. Sorry, Heart just doesn't do it for me. Although they do have a few songs that I do like. Enough to buy 6, 7 albums because, like I said, 1 or 2 on each. I know there's some more, like King Crimson. I just don't get it. But, that being said, again, these are all really popular bands. They've sold millions of albums. They're all very talented people and or groups. I'm not discounting their talent again. This is just my opinion. And these are bands, asked why I don't have them in my collection. That's why I don't. I just don't like them. I'm sure there's bands that you like that I wouldn't. That I wouldn't, or bands that you don't like that I would. A lot of people don't like Status Quo. I love them. A lot of people don't like Rush because of Geddy Lee's vocals. I love them. Music is a very subjective thing. We all interpret things and listen to things differently. We all have different tastes. So yeah, that's my list. If you lasted the whole 2142, it's going to be a little bit by the end. But if you stuck with me to the end, thank you very much. Thanks for watching, and I'll hope to see comments. Thank you very much.